I don't know how to explain it because did you have moments where you felt like you wanted to give up at least? Like, were there moments?
Every time I wanted to go to sleep, my junior year when I took 18 credits and I worked full time, every week I was telling my roommate how miserable it was. I was like, I can't do this anymore. But I think difficulty is a state of mind, right? So when people ask me how hard something is, my response is usually difficulty is relative.
Mm.
What that means is what's difficult for me may not be difficult for you, or the level of difficulty that I perceive in a situation might look very, very different for you. So I would challenge you not to think about how difficult it is and instead think about the stepping stones that you can build on to get there, because that's what helped me. I stopped looking at how am I going to get from point A all the way to point Z? And instead, I said, okay, what can I do right now that will help me get from point A to point B, which at that time was the end of my semester, right? At the end of the semester, I reassessed. I said, okay, I've gotten through this semester, I've gotten my GPA up. Now, the next goal for myself is how can I maintain that GPA? And then, as I got through my senior year, it was okay, I've gotten through my senior year, I'm going to graduate. How can I take the practices that I've established over the last year to year and a half and sustain those throughout my career? So I would say that would be the answer to my question: is don't think about how difficult it is. Set intermediate goals and build on those goals. And I think if you do that, it will become less overwhelming. Change should happen organically, right? So you have to do the work, that's for sure. Like, there's definitely work involved, because even as an adult, there are certain habits and behaviors that I had when I was 25 that at 30 just don't suit me anymore. But you have to be willing to, one, first say, these habits and behaviors don't suit me anymore. And then two, you have to be willing to identify new habits and behaviors to replace those with and just work at them every day, right? You're not going to get it right all the time, but if you keep working at them and you keep striving, you start to realize that progress is more important than end goal.
Woo! Woo! Dropping knowledge. Sorry, go ahead, Georgia.
Because, like, I remember yesterday I was struggling to do, like, the work that I missed. And I was just going through it. I was like, oh my gosh, I give up on this. Something told me I just have to keep going for like this grade. Like, I have to get this grade. Like, I can't just give up because it's hard. I have to keep pushing. So
Absolutely.
that's why I can relate to that kind of.
Absolutely. And I will tell you this: you're going to miss many more assignments before you graduate college. I think what's more important in that situation is not that you missed the assignment, it's the mindset behind getting the assignment made up.
Mm.
You could have said, I'm not going to deal with this assignment at all. I'm just going to take this. I would say you would take the L, but you would take the zero or whatever it is that comes with the assignment. But you're at least trying to work to make it up, and that's more important. That's a really solid life lesson that you can carry with you, because you won't always get it right.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick on some of my kids who are here for extra credit. Thank you, Georgia. Ashley or Lindsay, do you guys have a question or a statement, something that stuck out to you that she said? Ashley, Lindsay. Okay, Lindsay, go ahead. All right, Lindsay first, and then Ashley.
So how did you like stop yourself from like being like lazy? Like how did you just like keep going? Like how did you not just give up and like focus?
Yeah, I felt that one.
Right?
How would I stop myself from? Well, so just to be clear, I've never been lazy, which I think is part of. I think that's part of it, right? What we're talking about there is a whole different problem. So, how did I stay motivated?
Mm.
Is a different question from how do you not be lazy? Because I can't answer that one. I've never been lazy, and I don't know anybody in my family who has been. But as far as motivation, I think it goes back to what I said earlier on. You have to decide what it is that you want. And once you decide what you want, you have to decide how much you're willing to put in to get it, right? Because everything in life is a choice, right? So, for example, let's just say you want that new pair of sneakers, but you have $50 in your bank account. Your parents can't give you more money and you have to pay for a college application fee. Well, you have a choice, right? You can get the new pair of sneakers, but are you throwing away your future by not completing that college application and putting that $50 towards the application fee? Or you can pay the money for the application fee, not get the sneakers, and not maybe look cool to some of your friends in that moment, but be setting yourself up for success and setting yourself up for the direction that you want to go. None of it is ever easy. And sometimes you don't make what you would perceive to be the right choices in the moment, right? But I think what has helped me is just rationalizing with myself. If thems are the best things ever. So if I do A, then I get B.
Woo!
I think if you start to think through the decisions that you need to make in your life in that way, it'll make all the difference. If I don't go to class, then I'm going to miss this assignment, or then I'm going to miss, this instruction. Everything has a trickle down effect, right? So if you miss the assignment, you miss the instruction, that means you're behind. If you're behind, that means you have to work harder to get up. So you just have to think about things in that context. I think for me, that's what motivated me and helped me kind of stay ahead of the game.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Brittany. Ashley, did you have a different comment or was it similar?
I do have a different comment.
Go ahead.
I just want to say that was very she's very I just want to say you're very motivational, not because I really needed that, and especially you're very inspirational for the fact that especially what you've been through and you come such a long way. It's very inspiring.
Thank you. I when Tristan posted, about coming on to do this, part of the reason that I wanted to come talk to you guys is because this is something that I'm very passionate about. I'm a spiritual person, right? So I think it's very important to talk about the things that you've gone through in your life, because your story might set the foundation for somebody else. And there was a time in my life when I didn't want to share the things that I had been through. I didn't want to talk about the things that I had been through because I was ashamed of things that I had been through. But I think that as you get older and as you mature, you realize that you can't help others if you don't show them that they're not by themselves. So, for me, it was important to come talk to you guys because you guys might be dealing with circumstances that are similar than what I've been through. You might be dealing with circumstances that are completely different. But I think it's important to see somebody who, in some cases, looks like you, who comes from a background and challenges and things that you've been through and still successful. Oftentimes in the minority community, Black, brown, or other, whatever you want to call it, we don't see enough people who look like us, who are doing really, really well. And even at my age now, I still experience that. A lot of the executives in companies that I've been in don't look like me. I could look at that and I could say, well, I'm never going to get there because they don't look like me. Or I can look at that and say, they don't look like me, but I'm going to do things differently and I'm going to become one of the first to get there. So, perspective and the way that you look at things is important. I'm sure there's some things on this call that Tristan learned about me that he never even knew.
100%.
Because, up until literally the last 2 or 3 years, I was just never comfortable talking about them. So, don't feel like the dialogue has to stop here. Like I said, I'll give Tristan my contact information. And if you guys have things that you want to talk to me about, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I have no problem staying in touch.
Yeah. Thank you, Ashley. Angelica, did you have a takeaway or a question? Are you there, Angelica? Something.
I don't really have a question.
Was there anything that stuck out to you that that kind of sat well with you that you heard, or if you don't, it's okay.
Yeah, that she really tried hard, and everything.
All right, thank you for sharing. Albright and then Brian. Albright.
I don't really got any questions.
Okay. Was there anything that stuck out to you that resonated with you?
The fact that she been through a whole lot and from a background that doesn't have much to actually becoming something and showing everyone it's possible.
Yeah.
From coming from nothing to something.
Thank you, Albright. I appreciate that, man. Brian.
I don't really got any questions.
Anything that stuck out to you or permeated with you?
Same thing with Albright. The fact that like she didn't really have like a background, but she was still able to like get to where she is now.
Yeah, for sure, man. Georgia, you wanted to say something?
I can like kind of relate to her because I also live with my grandma, so I understand like how it's different. Cause certain things I can't say to her, cause she'll be like, "What?" You're like, "What did you just say?" No, so I can relate to that a lot actually.
Yeah, it's definitely challenging. Georgia, one thing that I will say to you, and I didn't get to this place until I got to college. Try to, where possible, try to be empathetic towards her and understand that, it's not that she doesn't want to help you. And in a lot of ways, it's not that she's completely even shut down from some of the things you may want to talk about. I think culturally, she just may not have a way to have that dialogue with you. And I think that there are things that you're facing today as a teenager, right, in 2020, that, for your grandmother, she never had to face. It's just very different. So, I don't know the dynamic that you have with her, but I think a lot of times when we're in that situation, we tend to say, oh, she just doesn't get it. Like, she just doesn't understand, right?
Yeah.
So I think that just show her a little bit of grace sometimes, because there's a quote that I always say, people can only understand from their level of perception. She may not even be able to perceive and really internalize some of the challenges that you're dealing with. So it's not that she doesn't want to help you, she physically may not know how. So just communicate with her, try to be understanding, and just it'll build your relationship from there.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Georgia, when she gives me her contact information, I'm going to extend it to you and I want you to reach out to her. I think I literally am getting chills that you guys had this connection, but like one of the most powerful things in life is to like, to find somebody that you trust and you connect with and you can, reach out to them. Like, I don't consider myself a smart person. I don't consider myself to be good looking. I don't consider myself to be strong. I just feel like I strategically set people up around me that are like better looking than me. They're smarter than me. They're better teachers. My wife is great at grammar. A lot of times I'm like, wait, babe, is this sentence right? Can I put it on my Instagram or does it not make sense? Because my grammar is horrible. My spelling's horrible. Mr. Lewis is way more A-type. I consider myself to be A-type, but Mr. Lewis is like, he's a shark. So I know that being around him, it makes me better. You understand what I'm trying to say, Georgia? So when you get her contact information, don't let 4 years go by and you like, oh, I'm at graduation. Nah, hit her up. She's saying she gonna, talk to her. Hit her up. Be like, hey, I faced this with my grandma, and I'm sure she would be more than happy to help you. We have 6 minutes left. I just want to give Mr. Lewis some time to just kind of like say what resonated with him, and echo it out to the classroom guys, and then we'll close out for today. But I'm so thankful, Mr. Lewis. You gotta unmute yourself, Mr. Lewis.
There's actually too much, which is a compliment to you, Brittany. Honestly, it was really a pleasure to hear you speak, and for what you shared. And I jotted down some really good things that I think, just in lieu of time, Dr. Cox, we can maybe open with them on Thursday.
For sure. Before our next
session, we will. But just a couple, just two things. The if then, I love it. Brittany probably got that from math when she first saw it. But it applies to everything in life, and it really helps you. I got it from Wall Street when I worked there. I always ask, "What if?" You know, and how to motivate yourself. You know, what is it that you want? And then the last thing about empathy, Dr. Cox and I talked to you guys a lot about that, and her quote that people can only see from their level of perception. You know, people, due to lack of experience or whatever it may be, or in some cases ignorance or whatever, might not be able to see your point of view, and don't let that create a contentious moment. Use that as an opportunity to learn more about them. You always learn more when you listen than when you talk. I actually got my Bengals sweatshirt on. Just a coincidence. I still keep in touch with a lot of people up there. I hope you had a pleasant experience. I think it's a really great school. But thank you. And I do hope to get the opportunity to speak to you again in the future in some form of fashion, because you're a great person. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. And anytime you guys do anything like this, if you ever need me to jump on, like, I'm happy to do it. I don't mind taking time out of my day. Like, setting our next generation up for success is so important. It's so important. Like, you guys are going to be where I am in the next 10 years, right? So we need to make sure you have the right mindsets, the right behaviors, the right attitudes now, because it's going to determine how you act down the line. So, Tristan, I'll email you my contact info.
Perfect.
So that you have it. I'll send my LinkedIn profile, my email address, my phone number for anybody that wants it. Georgia, you can text me. I'm not like super formal. And we can go from there.
Georgia, you're gonna get an F in class if you don't text her before the end of the week. So that's your classwork, Georgia. I can't see you. Guys, oh my God. You say that again? Go ahead, Georgia.
That's crazy.
All
Do it anyway.
right. Guys, another amazing session. I appreciate you guys being peaceful and patient, because I know it's not easy. But man, I don't know about you guys. When I hear people's story, like she said, it's like power in someone's story, because we all are going through things, and like to see someone who's the flesh and the blood, like she is you guys. Like, she grew up in Bloomfield. She didn't grow up in, like, I don't know, like some like Edison or something. Like, she grew up in Bloomfield. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, and she's like just reached this level in life. Is just like, man, she's about to move to Dallas. Like, that's crazy. So, man, thank you, Brittany. It warms my heart. I can't believe it's been 8 years or so since we, like physically seen each other in the flesh, but to see you doing well is like, and to hear an update is so cool. So, without further ado, guys, that's class. I'll see you guys Thursday at 12. Bye, Brittany.
Everybody.
You too.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Dude,
Man, she is awesome.
she was like dropping gem after gem after gem. I was like,
Oh God, I was like, man, I was like, we gotta have her, and I wish she lived closer. I'm like, man, to have her in the classroom when we did the talks, on Friday afternoon, I'm like, oh man, there's so many times I wish we had that younger, especially a female perspective,
dude,
and
100%.
just the adversity that some of the kids really were able to relate to, and man, she's so much wiser than her age.
Dude, that's what I mean. When I said that, I'm really not smart, dude. Like, people like her, she's like 15 years. She's like 45. She's like, I'm going to have her level of maturity when I'm 45 or 50.
Yeah.
And I'm 32. So I got like, you know what I mean?
45?
No. She's young. She's 30. What I said is like, I'm 32. Yeah. I said, I'm going to have her level. Like, when I'm 45, I'll be as smart as she is now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. She, man, I definitely want to circle back on Thursday if we can.
Let's open
just
up with
to-
that, and I'm gonna have you run it. I'll give the intro because it's a different person.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the intro to the person, or before I give the intro, I'll say, "Hey guys, there's some themes that we need to talk about real quick," and then you can
Yeah.
run the gamut and give a spiel, and then the person will talk. Because one thing that it's just like when we had our real talks is there going to be themes that pop up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like one of the things that pops up to me is like, despite your odds, being resilient. I mean, I remember when I met her, not when I met her, but when we became friends, she's like, yeah, my mom died when I was like 10 or 11. I'm like,
Yeah.
how did you, excuse my language, how did you like persist? Like, if my mom passed away that young, I would have been like, you know what I mean?
Especially being a girl and the transition and everything, it's like it really blew my mind. And man, she's really a smart kid. I really wish her a lot of luck. But yeah, that'll be cool because there's some stuff I want to just make sure it didn't fly over their heads and so forth. So